Hey everyone, it's Barb Teckle. How are you? Here we are, one more week till Christmas, or if you celebrate other holidays this season, there's so many other ones. Hopefully, you are doing well and you're ready for the holidays. And I hope you're taking time for yourself because I know how the holidays can bring up so many different feelings and emotions. I'm the same way. I'm a highly sensitive person, so I have to be very careful during the holidays, make sure I take lots of self care. So, my reading today really relates to that. And I started out doing the reading with my intention of having you pick card one, two, or three, which you can still do if you want to think about that right now and think about, do I want card one, card two, or three? And maybe that'll be the message specifically for you. But what I did was when I turned all three cards over, I clearly saw there was a big theme and a message here. And I could really see the story in motion. So I'm going to read the cards that way for you today. But again, if you're feeling called to pick card one, two, or three, go ahead and think about that card that you'd like right now. And then as I do the reading, maybe just pay a little extra close attention to the number that you pick that corresponds with the card. So I've been working with a brand new deck that, oh my gosh, I think I waited, I want to say it was almost 6 months for this deck, but it was so worth it. So I'm going to just share that with you first. It's a huge box, but it's called the Arc Animal Tarot and Oracle Deck by Bernadette King. And I was really attracted to it, of course, because I love animals. And I'm always trying to learn as much as I can about the animal kingdom. But I was also attracted to it because you can use it in so many different ways. The way she has this set up is just remarkable. So you can use it as an oracle deck, which I am doing because that's the training that I took was reading oracle cards. But I would like to someday learn more about the tarot, which is more of a structured system. But you can use this deck any which way you choose. So I'm so glad I finally have this. I've had it for about a month now, I think. And I just love the images on the cards that I'll show you in just a little bit. There's the back of the box. So, and it comes with a super cool. If you're into getting your own oracle decks, like I am, it's a little bit of an addiction of mine. This is a really thick, big book with lots of great information. So, I hope you have your number in mind if you decided to do that. I actually pulled the cards and I did some meditation this morning. And then oh my gosh, I was just writing in my journal all the thoughts that were coming to me. So I'm going to refer to my notes and what I wrote too. So the first card that I picked, that I pulled from this deck, is the Walrus. And the question that I asked of the cards this week is, what is in our highest good for this week? I know a lot of people are probably feeling stressed out, and I'm hoping that this reading will help you to come back down and realize you don't have to do everything and that it's really important to take time for self-care, especially this time of year. It's so, so important. And believe me, I've had to remind myself of it too, because I am a work in progress, just like all of you. I am not perfect, nor do I want to be perfect. That is way too much work, right? So, what is in our highest good this week? And the first card I pulled, and if you picked number one, is Walrus. And the wording on the bottom says abandonment, escapism, and true seeing. So it's really time to look at and let go of those feelings that can feel really overwhelming this time of year. I have no doubt many of you can relate to this. So, maybe it's the feelings from childhood and these expectations, the word abandonment, maybe something you need to focus on. And not getting caught up in how we think things should unfold this holiday season. And then what happens when we do that, we tend to go to this place and we try to escape from it. And there's different ways. In fact, I wrote about that in my new book that's coming out in 2020 about how I've been guilty of escaping into, overindulging in drinking a little too much or over shopping. So this, Walrus is asking us to take a look at those feelings and those emotions, and then understanding, where are those coming from? And really to look at it, and I say this a lot in my readings, and this is just something that I've really learned over the years to discern where those emotions and feelings are coming from, and to learn to be present with those feelings and not push them away, because it really is an opportunity to practice being gentle with ourselves and to look at maybe that inner child that isn't getting their needs met, and to be with that inner child and love that inner child. And really it's all about, being good to ourselves, good self-care. So it's interesting that Walrus is that it is harder for them, doing a little research about walrus, it's actually harder for them to get around on land. Of course, they're big, they're big creatures, and they're kind of, I'm sure it's hard for them to get around on land, but it's much easier for them to get around in the water. And when we think about water, water is very symbolic of our emotions. So if our emotions are getting in the way, and we're feeling, frustrated, we're feeling, clogged up, and we're feeling like we just don't understand how things are unfolding. This is again time that we take time to address those feelings and to be with those feelings. So many of us just want to run from them, right? And again, I'm just as guilty sometimes, and I have to remind myself. So let me just can you see all the notes I made? Um, so when we do navigate our feelings and be with our feelings, we can then more easily navigate through the busy holidays, and through our everyday life as well. And then situations that arise that might not be ideal. So that's card number one, walrus. So then card number two, again, what is in our highest good this week? And again, I said this is really a story in motion. And if you pick number two, this is your card, which is penguin. I love penguins. When I get the chance to go to a zoo or be able to see penguins, I could watch penguins for hours and hours. I really could. I just love them. They are so sweet. They're funny. They're loving. Yeah, so this is a time of celebration. The words on the bottom say celebration, soul groups, and time to focus. So as we near the end of the year, there is so much for us to celebrate, right? How far have we come, to celebrate that we're going into a brand new decade in 2020. And Penguin is reminding us that as we move into 2020, how important it is for us to stay connected to those that uplift and inspire us. And if we don't have, people like that around us, to find those people, they're out there. There are more people like you that will inspire you and uplift you. And, those feelings really come up again, especially this time of year. And so we're being asked to focus on not to focus on the blessings that we already have in our lives, and the community that surrounds us and supports us and understands us and that can relate to us. And when we focus on that, it helps to keep us more grounded. And we're better able to, I think about the penguin, how they glide so easily over the ice and the snow, um, and just and that's a metaphor for us that, like penguin, when we're more grounded, and I'm getting a little off track here of my notes. Sometimes I get a little excited about what I'm sharing. But when we focus on what we really need, for our own self-care, we can ease through situations and being in environments that aren't always ideal, which are part of life. That's just the way it is. So that's number two, the penguin. And then number three, I love, love, love. This is the final card. And again, a story in motion here. And the theme for the week is pufferfish. Pufferfish. Isn't pufferfish just, I love to say pufferfish. He's so adorable. So the words on the bottom are wishes granted, satisfaction, and pride. So as we bring this all together of walrus, and penguin of, looking at our emotions and being with our feelings, surrounding ourselves with people who understand us, and maybe will hear us out, and be with us as we process our feelings. And when we do that, as we bring this all together with pufferfish, when we're able to recognize our feelings, and maybe we're feeling something of lack, or we're feeling that we're not understood. Again, it's an opportunity to connect inward and to spend time with ourselves, examining those emotions and those feelings and understanding where they come from. And I can personally attest that, and again, I'm not trying to push my book here, but the book that I'm coming out with in the new year, that is something I really learned to be with, was to be with that scared little girl within me, and to be with all those feelings that came up. And sometimes that's scary because we think we're going to be in pain if we look at those feelings, that's just going to continue to happen. But when we're with all our feelings and with the pain that brings up, it's amazing how that starts to, I don't know if I want to say the word disintegrate, but it does. It starts to just melt away, and when we're able to understand where they come from, we can be gentler with ourselves. So again, examine those emotions, and feel through them all, and taking care, taking time for self-care. Now, self-care really means with being with all those inward emotions, but it also means, for me, it's going outside. I've been walking outside a lot, even though it's been really cold. But I feel so much better when I'm connecting with nature and getting that fresh air. Um, and then when I look at pufferfish, when we do these things for ourselves and help ourselves out, don't we feel more fulfilled? Don't we feel better? And we feel ourselves puffing out like a pufferfish, right? So we stand taller and we puff out our fins and we move through the world more confidently when we take this time to be with everything that we're feeling. And we begin to understand more of who we really are. And then we can move through the world more confidently. And I also, when I looked at pufferfish, and then I looked at walrus, how we started out with, feeling these feelings of lack, or feeling abandonment, or just feeling like we're not understood. I look at the color of the walrus of being like the grays and the browns and kind of the dull colors. And then we end with pufferfish. So when we learn to take good self-care, the colors return in our lives. We see the colors around us. We see the world. Um, uh, I lost track of what I wanted to say. The world just becomes brighter, doesn't it? Yeah, when we take good self-care, the world becomes brighter, just like pufferfish. So that is the reading for the week, Walrus, Penguin, and Pufferfish. So I hope that was helpful. I'm not sure I'll be back on Monday, which is the day, 2 days before Christmas. I may be practicing self-care for myself, but if I feel called to come back with another reading, I will be back then. But if not then, I will eventually be back again. So I hope that reading was helpful, and let me know. I would love to hear, if you want to leave a comment on my blog where I post this, or post it right underneath the YouTube video. That would be great. All right, everyone, have a great week.